Hey, what's going on, everybody? I wanted to make a really quick video. So I was scrolling through Twitter earlier today, and I came across this tweet that was really interesting to me, and I saw that it was getting a lot of retweets. It had something like, I think, close to 20,000 likes and 10,000 retweets or something like that. So I was like, wow, let me take a look at this. So there's this woman, she sent the tweet out. Her name is L. Beckman. That's her handle on Twitter. And she's upset about a quote that was in a middle school, a Houston middle school in Texas. Now, I don't know if this was, her daughter was a part of this. I'm assuming that she has a daughter or a son that goes to school, probably a daughter, because you can already tell by this quote how people can get offended, with the quote saying, "The more you act like a lady, the more he'll act like a gentleman." So it's just like, you can already tell people are going to look at that and be like, the super far left feminists are going to look at that and be like, well, that's really saying that the only reason I should be a lady is to get the attention of a male. I don't need men's attention, which is true. But at the same time, I'm looking at this quote and I'm thinking of it like, well, that makes sense to me. The more you act like a lady, the more you're going to attract gentlemen in your life. If you want to be treated with respect, you have to be someone who's a respectful person. You get what you dish out. Not always, but a lot of times, So this is what the woman says in her tweet. She says, "This is the wall at Gregory-Lincoln Middle School in Houston ISD. It's perpetuating horrible gender stereotypes, shaming women, and relinquishing boys of all responsibility. It's sexist, misogynistic, and discriminatory. I'm horrified." She says she's horrified. Like, worse than what's going on right now in Saudi Arabia and Yemen, how Saudi Arabia is attacking Yemen, and they just blew up a bomb full of students and kids paid for by the USA. Way more horrible than that. She's horrified. I mean, look, if you want to take it that far, yes, maybe it kind of makes it seem like women have the responsibility to make men act like men. But I don't think most people are that negative in their way of thinking. I think that this woman, it takes a special type of woman to really, view that quote that way. I mean, that quote had been up here so long, but again, with Twitter and this whole type of social media mobbing, this is what this has created. Like, we're at this crazy crisis where she forced this high school to go out of their way and take down a stupid quote, and she thinks that she's winning somehow. But anyway, again, I think the overall message here is about respect. But now that I think about it, the extreme of a lot of this feminism that's going on today, I think what it really promotes is about being a non-respectable woman. Like, it really does promote women who they're like, oh, well, fuck guys and fuck everything about culture. And I get it. There's a lot of things about our Western culture, that are not good for a lot of people. But to think that somehow you're getting men back by being disrespectful to yourself and to other people, you're not really doing nothing but making yourself look stupid. And what this really shows me too is like the Me Too movement is really fading out. If they're really looking like this is their best example of like misogyny. Now, again, of course, misogyny really goes on, and there's some really great examples of that are happening. Like, of course, what was happening in Hollywood to a certain extent. What women have gone through all the way up until now. I mean, just being allowed to vote recently, to have rights to vote, and how women in this culture don't get any access to maternity leave. If they do get pregnant, they basically have to choose between starting a family or getting paid, which is a really, crazy decision to be put into situation. But overall, I think this Me Too movement is fading away. It's fading out, and this example is showing you why it's fading. And I do think that this woman also points to another great point where I think that she's afraid of absolving boys of all responsibility, but I think what she really is promoting is absolving women of bad behavior and responsibility. Because what this quote is really saying, because I know a lot of people out there, especially women, who want to act as badly as they can, and they think that they still deserve the best. They think that they still deserve a gentleman, and they're not acting ladylike at all. So the onus is still for men to act like a gentleman, but women can act however the hell they want. So I see a lot of quotes. I see a lot of replies to this quote, on her Twitter feed, basically saying that men should act a certain way regardless of how women act. And my thing is, like, men don't owe you nothing. Like, we don't have to act any sort of way toward women. So on the other flip side, to what they're saying is that we don't have to do anything for them either. Like, why is it expected no matter how a woman acts, we still have to, as black men or as men, period, be a certain type of man? No, if you're going to treat me with disrespect, I'm going to treat you with disrespect. I'm not going to give you nothing that you ain't giving me. So yeah, like, there's this perspective that no matter how a woman acts, she deserves the best. And I'm going to just break it to y'all. That's not true. Every woman does not deserve the best. Every human being does not deserve the best. And another thing, this whole situation is annoying me because it's like, anytime there's some semblance of a partnership between men and women working, or like something positive between men and women, there's a way, like, these women in this new movement will find any way of tearing that down and like splitting us apart, making it be like, yes, we can both as men and women get along without each other, but why can't we try to do better with each other? Like, why is that such a crazy thing? I really think that these women who look for any opportunity to break things up between functional relationships are just the saddest women out there, because they're not getting attention. This is the way of getting attention, and it's just ruining it even for other women. So what they're also teaching people is that no matter what, if you say anything toward a woman, it's mansplaining or it's evil. So essentially, a father can't even tell his daughter anything in this day and age, because that would be considered mansplaining, and that might even come across as being sexist. That's basically, I can already see our culture going in that direction, where pretty soon, if you're a father, it's going to be considered possibly a sexist crime to teach your daughter certain things, even though that's your daughter. And as always, the loudest, creakiest wheel gets the most attention. So I really think that this woman and women like her are not getting attention, and this is the way of doing that. So unfortunately, that's the way life goes. I'm gonna leave it there. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And as always, stay woke.